Today's story was written by Reddit user Vaughn1919. Agent Trailer burst onto the bridge of the Ranakor as the ship shook once more. There was a flurry of activity as the pilots pushed the ship to dodge incoming fire, and the gunnery personnel tried to get a clear lock onto the vessel. "What in Gavek's name is going on?" Trailer demanded, her feathers frilled. The captain, Grinnak, turned his head, a noticeable grimace on his reptilian face. "We found them, the last human warship, but they are making things far more difficult than they should be." Trailer's avian eyes widened. Decades ago, humanity was defeated and enslaved, save for a few 100,000 who escaped into the void. But there were stories that a single human warship survived. Slaves called it the Defiance. Trailer shook her head. "Then what is taking so long? It is a third of our size," she asked. Grinnak sighed. "I was a fighter pilot at the Battle of Seoul. The coalition fleets drastically outnumbered the humans. We had them cornered and outgunned, or so we thought." He turned back to look at the screen displaying the Defiance. "Our armada suffered 90% casualties. Our ground forces suffered far worse at 95%. The humans made us pay what they call a butcher's bill." He stood slowly and pointed at the screen. "That very ship destroyed a battle cruiser. We are lucky to be in a patrol cruiser." He grimaced again and dropped his arm to his side. Trailer had heard stories, but never had the clearance to verify. Well, at least she might know now. She turned to focus on the ship on screen. It was very aerodynamic and sleek-looking, in the shape of a dagger. Its hull was painted a dark grey with red markings scattered across it. The thing that caught her eye was the gold letters, clearly spelling Defiance in human. Then, without warning, the human corvette-sized ship stopped. "Evasive actions!" Grinnak practically screamed. The ship lurched up and over the Defiance, before Tyler saw a moment of realization, quickly followed by terror wash over Grinnak. Then it hit her. The human warship was behind them. The Ranakor shook violently as an alarm blared and the main power failed. The emergency power flickered to life just moments later. Grinnak, who had been knocked to the floor, stood up. "Status report," he demanded. "Main reactor's down, secondary reactor at 35%. Weapons are down as well as shields," called a technician. "We've lost the main engineering section and have hull breaches on multiple levels. We have suffered at least 40% casualties. Reports are still coming in," called another. "Sir, secondary reactor's going critical," the first technician cried. "All hands abandon ship," Grinnak shouted. Before Trailer could say anything, she was practically being dragged from the bridge. Trailer waited by the last escape pod for Grinnak. Only a few of the remaining crew wished to remain to wait for their captain. Grinnak entered the room and tracked Trailer to the pod before slamming his hand on the launch button. He stood and pulled Trailer up. "Sorry, Agent Trailer, but we need to get as far away as possible. Why didn't you leave?" Trailer brushed her feathers off. "We aren't going to leave you to die." There was a sound of assent from the others in the pod, now 12 in total. Before anyone could do or say anything, the pod jolted and started moving in a different direction. "A tractor beam?" Trailer said nervously. "It must be the humans." She pulled her laser pistol while Grinnak opened the weapons compartment and distributed the laser pistols to the rest of the crew in the pod. Eventually, they began to feel the gravity increase. It wasn't life-threatening, but enough to make everyone unsettled. Once they stopped moving and the pod had settled in the human ship, Trailer heard footsteps approaching the door. "Get ready," Grinnak said calmly. Then the edge of the pod's hatch turned yellow before spewing sparks, the sparks moving in a circle until the entire hatch had been cut. There was a moment of silence before the hatch was pried from the pod with a loud thud. "My name is Captain Rodney O'Malley. If you lay down your weapons and step out of the pod with your hands up, you will be treated as prisoners of war under our Geneva Convention," declared a male voice. Trailer was about to object when Grinnak stopped her and placed his pistol on the ground. "What are you doing?" Tryla whispered demandingly. Grinnak shrugged. "I know of this convention, and as we are all uniformed personnel, we will be treated relatively well, especially since none of us committed any war crimes by their rules of war. It would be best if we surrender. Now, do it." The others dropped their weapons, hesitantly, followed by Tryla. "I hope you know what you're doing," she said skeptically. Grinnak smiled and stepped out of the pod. "My name is Captain Grinnak of the Neil clan. Me, and what's remaining of my crew, surrenders," he declared. Tryla followed him and stared at the team of heavily armed human marines, as well as 2 humans who were dressed differently. One, a young-looking male dressed in a long black coat, with the front undone showing a grey shirt. He had a patch of black fur on his head, mostly covered by a strange hat. The other was wearing a white coat with a red mark on her arm. On her head was long flowing brown hair. Grinnak, Tryla, and the others slowly approached the group of humans, so as not to cause alarm. Once they were 5 paces from them, they stopped. The young male, Rodney, Tryla assumed, smiled, displaying fangs. "If you have any injured, Dr. Lisa here can tend to them." He gestured to the woman in white, then his hand swung around to a human marine who took his helmet off, revealing orange fur and a spotted face. "Those who are not injured will be cuffed and led to the brig by my cousin, Chief of our Marine Detachment, Master Chief Calvin Blair."